we're going to start playing Sword Coast Legends, which I bought a few days ago. I wasn't going to start playing this yet, but I've been playing it off camera and been liking it a little bit, so I'm going to start and see how we go. I'm also on a new PC, so I'm hoping I don't have too many problems. I think I've got everything figured out, but we'll have to see. Actually, I did forget to do a couple of things, didn't I? Don't have my screens set up. Bear with me. Thankfully, this game the audio doesn't drop out like it does with Baldur's Gate. If I switch out of the app. Okay, so as I said, I very briefly played with this. I am. Ooh, what happened there? Wrong screen. That's what happened there. I have played this very briefly. I've started a couple of characters, a fighter, dual-wielding rapiers, so he is a dex-based fighter. Once he loads, there he is, and a ranger. I like rangers, but I know that archery is usually booked in all of these games, and it's not much different here. It doesn't seem to be all that great, so we'll see how it goes. But for now, I decided that I'm going to go way outside my comfort zone, and I'm actually going to start playing a mage, or a wizard in this case. Not something I play very often, so let's play a male wizard. I have briefly looked at a couple of different options here. I think I'm torn between dwarf because it's so atypical. Although, you know, the main character in the Shadows of Undrentide, was it? In Neverwinter Nights, was a dwarven wizard. Not the main character, but he was your mentor. He was a main character. So there's that. So yeah, I'm a little bit against that. You don't get any bonuses towards int as a dwarf, but the constitution bonuses definitely help. Everyone plays Elven Mages because they're getting intelligence bonuses. I am sort of thinking about, I sort of thought about Half-Elf, but Half-Elves, apart from the fact that you get 2 extra skill points, Half-Elves are pretty meh. No one really plays Half-Elves from what I understand. The big one that I've definitely thought about doing is Halfling. Having said that, my playthrough that I was starting to do of Neverwinter Nights 2, I was playing a Halfling Warlock in that. So it sort of feels like I'm doing the same old thing. I could do a human, but there are so many human mages out there, and there's not a huge amount of advantages. So there's 2 human variants. They don't call them anything different. They're just human and human variant. The first human gets a +1 bonus to all scores, which actually I haven't tried to build on. I haven't looked at that and gone, what does that give me? The second one, which I tend to like a little bit more, is you get 2 extra skill points, because having some extra starting skills at the beginning of the game is not a bad option. I've also looked at Tiefling. You get a bonus to charisma and to intelligence, but I'm not sure. I just like the look of Tieflings. At least there's none of the stuff that there was in Neverwinter Nights 2, where you get levels slower as a Tiefling. If there was Gnome, I would definitely pick that as an option, but it's really just working out which one I want. And I don't know, Halfling, which options was I looking at there? Lightfoot. Neither of them really jump out as being great options. Let's have a look here. +1 to all scores. I like to do the Sage background because it gives you a passive bonus to fire, cold, and lightning damage, and psychic and thunder. So basically, most of the damages that you're going to be doing as a mage, you're getting a +1 bonus to, and you get a +1 intelligence to begin with. So let's have a look at that. Let's just go to the next screen. I'm not going to worry too much about looks right now. I'll probably come back and reset the look. I want to see what stats we've got. Now, the one thing that's not clear to me is in the abilities whether any of these stats allow you to have more abilities. So what we might just do is we've got, if we say 17 intelligence, let's put everything else at 10. What do we got? We've got one more point we can spend anywhere. Charisma. It's a dump stat anyway. Well, it's not a dump stat actually, but there's nowhere else we can put anything useful. I mean, I could drop one of these down, but that gives me no negatives anywhere. So we've got 2 ability points remaining. So there can't be any correlation between stats and ability points because I got the highest int I can get for this character type. So in Neverwinter Nights, so that's the D&D 3 and 3.5 rules, intelligence gave you more skill points that you could use to build your character to begin with, and it meant each level that you went up you got more points. But that doesn't seem to be the case, and I don't know that it actually tells you how many skill points you get as each character type, because the other thing that I've played in the past, which I didn't mind, was the Warlock. Now if I played the same, and charisma is their primary skill, so let's say we do that. We're going to get that to 10, that's already at 10, let's do that. Let's do... and we've got a 1 point. Alright, man, I'd love to be able to get that up to... oh, I don't know why I missed that. Okay, so let's say that's our stats. 15 there is, you know, I could just as easily go 14 and then put a bonus there. So actually I'd be better off putting a bonus there so that I've got a bonus to a lot of my saves. Now, ability points remaining 3, but I think that's just the number of ability points a Warlock gets by the looks of it. Because if I go back here and pick do any of these give you, do any of the backgrounds give you more skill points? Physical damage, plus 1 intelligence, wisdom, noble. That's another one that I don't mind, is Outlander. You take less damage, at least physical damage, so that's not a bad one if you're considering it for a mage, a wizard, because if, as a wizard, you can, it means that if someone gets up close to you, you can survive a little longer because they're doing less damage to you. Golden Dwarf, resistance to poison, constitution and strength bonuses, constitution and wisdom. What does it look like when I give you stats now? Start at 10 there. Pump maximum int, I can only go to 16 at that point. I can only go to 15, so no sense in going to 15 because you don't get any bonus out of it. So I can dump the constitution to 16, so I'll survive a little bit longer. I can bump most of those then up. I just have a slight charisma deficit. Problem is I don't really want a charisma deficit, and I don't really want a wisdom deficit either. I would rather at this point have a strength deficit, because charisma at least helps me buy new items and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure if I really like that character, so let's go back. Like the Elven, you know, +2 to dexterity, +1 to intelligence. That's going to be so easy to create. +2 to dex, +1 to intelligence, and they've also got another bonus because of my sage thing in intelligence. So that'll be able to start at, why not 18? It should be able to start at 18. So let's put that back at 16. Can I get that? It only goes to 15, and then I'm really low on points. See, that's where it gets odd. Like, that's a really, you know, I could drop that back and have a few more points, and then I could, you know, make most of these a little bit better, but you can't really get everything there to nothing negative without dropping the other stats that I just don't really want to drop. That's the same. There's not a lot of difference between those two characters, is there? Sleep and search. Sleep and search. No, they're exactly the same. It's just one's called a sun elf and the other one's called a moon elf. Darker and lighter. Big deal. Immunity to sleep, search, mask of the wild, fleet of foot. I think this one's meant to be good for rangers because it's got +1 to wisdom rather than intelligence. And then of course you've got the drow. I just don't want to pick drow because it's so, everyone plays drow, you know. Everybody does it. +2 to charisma, 2 points to apply, and a racial bonus of 2 extra skill points. Is that ability points? Skill points? Let's have a look. Let's just see what half elf looks like. We'll come back and change his appearance in a minute. So let's get that to 10. Let's get everything to 10 first and see what we've got left to play with. Oops. So charisma's already at 10. So we want a max intelligence. We can only go to 16, which is a terrible max. Let's take this to at least 14 and this to at least 14, and we've got nothing left. But we've got 2 racial bonus points that we can add in, and I can add both of those to int, giving me an 18 intelligence. And this is the thing I don't really understand, why. Like, I'm almost better adding that to dex or constitution, both of those points, because they're going to go up in levels, and int is going to help. I'd rather start with, no, we'll do it that way. See, that doesn't look too bad. Now when we go to abilities, I got 4 ability points rather than 2 that we had before, so definitely the half elf might be the way to go. So let's do the appearance that we want. I wouldn't normally pick a half elf because, as I said, they look bleh. Well, not look, but okay. Let's drop the skin a bit. We're going to go. I don't know why. I'm not a redhead, but I've been going redhead a lot lately for this sort of stuff. And a hairstyle, we definitely don't want that. We want something a little more. Actually, I don't mind that one. Is that the one? Yeah, it's a little bit weird. My brother had a hairstyle like that once, except the hair started at the back of his head. And he had a ponytail going down over it. Facial hair, I prefer the yeah. I'm going to keep that one. Okay, so let's do that. I don't know if I really want to change much else, although I do sort of like, ooh, the milky white eyes, as if he's blind. Or the red eye colour. See, I don't mind that. Goes with the hair. And I don't know that I really want to change anything else because it's been randomised and I don't mind that look. It's not too bad. So, equipment, yeah, we're not going to change anything. We're going to stick with quarterstaff. I considered dual wielding daggers. We're not really going to use any weapon. You know, like, the plan is magic all the way. But if I try and dual wield daggers, for example, and I end up finding a magical quarterstaff that can also cast spells, then it just doesn't work. We just can't do much damage with that. So, and it's not going to let us take any other armor, so we're just going to stick with that. We've already got this, we've got to redo our stats. So let's, what did we say? That's already at 10. Oh, we've got, that's all the stats we want, that's right, what am I talking about? 10, 14, 14, 18, 10, 10. Okay, bit bland, but we'll see. Now, I like the mage armor. I thought it was originally a spell that you had to cast, so I went looking for it, and then I realised it's a passive ability. So that's really good. Normally these sorts of spells was something that you had to renew, like you had to, at the start of the day, you had to cast that spell, and it might last 12 hours or whatever. But the fact that it just is there is great, and of course, the obligatory magic missile. The only advantage this has is it starts as 3 missiles, and then it goes up in the number of missiles from there. So I could spend my remaining points maxing up magic missile, and it's actually not that ridiculous or bad a way to go. Right? So I could do that, and I'd be casting 5 glowing darts. Okay, not. Let's go. Hang on. I can't undo that. Damn it. Looks like I'm stuck with that. I've already got all of these. There was nothing, like, when I've started the game previously, the only other skill that I've often wanted to add in is not even these, it's search. But I can't add that in yet. I might add that in later, but for now, Magic Missile is my primary spell. And I can cast it every 40 seconds, so that's pretty good. I fall back on my other things. So, it's a bit cliche and all of the rest, but the name I had is just Zap. That was the idea.
Might I have a moment of your time?
Actually, I haven't been going. I've been using... Been using Puckish, but
hello there.
I think I might stick with Erudite. There really isn't that huge opportunity from what I can see anyway, at least initially with the little bits I've played, to play Evil, and I don't like playing Evil anyway. I always do good, I always, you know, but I don't necessarily always follow the rules, so I usually play Chaotic good or Neutral good. I think I'll stick with Chaotic. I don't know if there's any incentive in this game that, like there is in the Neverwinter Nights series, where you've got your alignment will change over time if you don't act accordingly. I don't know if there's any of that in this. Oops, we're just going to have Mystra as our goddess. She's the Lady of Mysteries, the Goddess of Magic. That's pretty standard, although technically she is midnight now, I would have thought. But anyway. Right, let's start. I'm not doing the tutorial because it's creepy and weird and I don't want to do it. I've played it already. We will just head straight on in. So, Sword Coast Legends, new, easy, yes, I don't care. You can have a go at me for it, but I don't play on the hardcore levels. I'm bad enough at this as I am. Let no horses pull you forth and ignore the signposts beside the path. We must each blaze our own trail through the wilderness, lest we lose ourselves along the way.
Legends tell that after the time of troubles, the elven goddess Sehanine Moonbull wept for those divine souls that fell in the God's War. From her eyes fell the moon tear, a relic said to contain a mote of Sehanine's divine power. The moon tear was hidden by the elves, but not forgotten. A century ago, two brothers, one gentle and scholarly, the other brash and courageous, sought to find the lost relic. They founded an adventuring guild called the Order of the Burning Dawn and sealed their purpose with an oath to find the moon tear and use it to bring light to a world filled with darkness. Not long after they sealed the pact, both brothers were lost, and the guild's original purpose was lost with them. Today, the guild offers equipment, shelter, and paying work for adventurers looking to do a little good while they make a little coin. You are one of the Burning Dawn's newer recruits, charged with escorting a small merchant caravan along the high road between the city of Neverwinter and the lawless town of Luskan. It has been an easy journey thus far, aside from the vicious nightmares that have plagued your sleeping mind since the caravan left the city. Bad dreams are common on missions fraught with danger, but you've never had nightmares quite like this.
The High Road. The inland trade route known as the High Road connects Waterdeep in the south to Luskan in the north, passing through Neverwinter and Port Last along the way. On the trip up from Neverwinter, this portion of the High Road veers away from the coast through a small set of craggy hills. Still about a day's ride to Luskan for most caravans, this area is an ideal resting place before continuing on through more treacherous terrain. Unfortunately, the loading screens on this are a little bit annoying, but then again, they're no different really from Neverwinter Nights 2, so we will just have to put up with those, and I will try not to ramble on too much while we wait. Tempted to drum my fingernails while we wait. But anywho. Okay, here we go.
Ah, you're finally awake. You were scaring the horses. You were thrashing around in your sleep. The trail boss thought you were possessed.
Sorry about that, I had a rough night.
Tell me about it. I had a nightmare that the world was ending. But I didn't screech and flail like my face was on fire. Bellamy says he had the same dream I did. Oh, but that damned halfling was probably just poking fun like he always does. He's a good lad, but you know as well as I, if there's a weakness in your armour, he'll do all he can to poke it.
He's not so bad.
Aye, he's not. He just rubs me up the wrong way. Jokes around all light-hearted, but the minute you shoot back, he gets all cranky and ready to fight. But he's a damn good soldier, and I'm glad to have him here. That nightmare I had makes me think we might be needing his blades in the coming days.
Sounds like we all had terrible
Aye,
nightmares.
something to mention to Palan when we get to the guild house in Luskan. Maybe he'll give us a foul taste and purple concoction that bubbles loudly and doesn't do much else. Nightmares aside, we got work to do. Got to find that fool halfling and get this caravan packed up and ready to move to Luskan.
What do we have left to do?
The merchants are breaking camp as we speak. Most wagons are tied up and ready to go. We got a few stragglers that might need a hand getting ready. Bellamy went up ahead to scout the road. Haven't heard from him in a little while. He was cranky with a headache when he left, so I'm guessing he picked a fight with one of the trail scouts up there.
Alright, I'll go find him.
Good. He should be up the road a ways. Listen for the sound of that fool shouting curses at the sky.
Okay, so let's grab all the loot from here first, because it is good and useful stuff. Drag the tome down onto here, and we're going to equip all of this, even though I've got helms turned. I thought I had them turned on. I must have turned them off. This doesn't look like a quarterstaff to me. It looks like some sort of clerical thing. But anyway, okay, and let's use the Tome of Knowledge, and we will buff a stat. And of course, we'd be mad to buff anything but intelligence. And let me just quickly take the helmets off. I think I leave that on while I'm creating characters, because otherwise you can't see their hairstyle.
Of course.
Okay, so let's come on down here. I thought there was barrels. Ah, yes, barrels right here. I have found previously that if you hit these with spells rather than with your melee weapon, they tend to not have stuff in them as much. I don't know, it's weird. Let's just switch that to Fireball for now. I don't know why, I just prefer... Actually no, the ice one is good because it does slow them, doesn't it? So let's keep that. Let's talk to Tolan. Ah, good morning. I heard you and the others had a rough night. I can spare a few sips of a curative tincture to help wake you. That would be appreciated, thanks. Anytime, I need my guards alert. The high road may be the most travelled route into Luskan, but in my 12 years I can count the number of times we got through without incident on one hand, and I lost a finger in a fishing accident. A fishing accident? Oh boy, is there a story there. Maybe one day I'll have a chance to share it. Don't let me keep you, I'm looking forward to getting underway. Yeah, it's going to be a little while though. And some more gold, and what else? We've got another pass over here. It's empty, that's fine. Let's come over here. Let's talk to Alima. Ugh, I thought the roads near Neverwinter were rough, but this is something else. At least I'm finding some interesting herbs. You're from Neverwinter? I am, though I'm questioning why I ever left. It's so much less cold there. Well, of course it is. These supplies are going straight to Luskan. I guarantee I'll get a better deal there than from some shifty sellsword. Why do you collect herbs? I could go through the shifty sellsword thing, but she doesn't really mean to be insulting, so I'll ignore it. With the collections we've made in Luskan, I'll be profitably selling them. I also know how to make your basic herbal remedies, though. I brewed up... Excuse me. I brewed up a tincture for Tolan. When we left Neverwinter, he has lots of headaches, you know. Where do you get your materials? Mostly around Neverwinter, native herbs, barks and seeds. Sometimes they get a shipment from Suzale, Waterdeep or Calimport, but it's better to gather at local plants and make what you can out of them. I hear rumours of some very valuable mushrooms in the caves around here, but I'm not about to go tromping off into a forest full of wolves, bandits and who knows what. Mushrooms, maybe I could look for them. If you're planning to visit a few caves before we head out, be my guest. I've still got to finish packing, but I'll give you a good price on any you find. Anything specific I should know? Well, they're called Deathcap mushrooms for a reason. Try not to eat any, and they won't stand out too well against normal mushrooms, but they usually grow a bit bigger. They're only in caves. Maybe I'll see what I can find. I only really need one, but I'll pay you for whatever you bring back. Okay, so there are going to be plenty of those. Did I do these crates yet?
I do hope there's something magical in this one.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
Fantastic.
Oh, no, one worked. There you go. So I find it interesting that, I don't know if this was something that came out in D&D 4, but in having seen the difference in 3 and 3.5, which is what Neverwinter and Neverwinter Nights 2 are, as opposed to D&D 5, which is what this is, always wondered when they made the decision to make cantrips so easy to cast, like unlimited number of casts per day. These other spells, normally if you're playing the normal role-playing game, you still have a limited number of spells per day, but in this game they've just put a cooldown timer on them instead to make them much more gamey. So there's no resting mechanic in this. I thought there might be, and I did a bit of searching for it and then found that there isn't any. But yeah, it's interesting because originally mages were the guys that really just couldn't keep up with everyone else, particularly at low levels, because they only had a very small number of spells per day. But now you have these cantrips and you can cast them every round. You can cast one, which makes them very similar to what the Warlock was in 3.5. In Neverwinter Nights 2, the Warlock character is super powerful because they can cast their Eldritch Blast every single round. And as they gain levels, it gets more powerful. In here, it's not quite the same with the Eldritch Blast, and the cantrips definitely. These never get more powerful, unless when you're skilling up, you can... I don't think you can skill up. Oh, yes, you can. So that's the Frost Blast there, for example. And you can... 6 to 18... Yeah, 4 to 10. So you can increase the power of that, but you have to spend the skill points to make that more powerful, and you can still, there's still the, you can cast it as often as you need to, sort of thing. So yeah, that is in the normal role-playing game as well now. And wizards and warlocks, warlocks are nerfed in a way now, because wizards can do the same thing. They've got cantrips that are just as powerful and they can cast just as often. It almost makes some of the other spells almost useless. But anyway, let's go on. I know, we're leaving soon, but just like I told everyone else, I'm not going anywhere without my brother. The caravan will have to leave without me. Where is your brother? I'm not sure. We had an argument last night and he went out into the forest to let things cool down, but he's not back yet and I'm not leaving without him. He'll be carrying an ancient elven antique, very valuable. Excuse me. Whew. I need it. Oh, and him too. I wonder if that idiot is trying to... No, he must have gotten lost out there and he can't find his way back. Let me see what we can do. This entire trip will be a disaster without that antique, and I need Richard's help getting all packed up. That's interesting because
I can do that.
He doesn't really want to join you anymore. We'll see that in a little while. What the hell are you doing over there? I said. Okay. So hang on. Let's come back here. Willem Ray. Great. Could this day get any worse? Is something wrong? My dear Sarah has gone missing. I can't leave without her. I'll see if I can find her. Thank you ever so much. She'll probably be running around somewhere in the forest. How frightened she must be. If you find Sarah, please return her to me safely. My cart won't move an inch without her here. Now, when I first saw that, I went, oh, that's interesting. Sarah, probably his wife. Not a problem, we'll go and find her. No, Sarah is his horse. But again, we'll find that out soon enough.
As you wish.
So, let's come and talk to the cook. He's a bit mischievous. You over there. Hey, mind helping out a world-class chef? No, what kind of help do you need? I should have said sure, where is he? Pretty simple. Us chefs, you see, we're always experimenting with new recipes. I've got a new concoction and I could use some taste testing. Got the recipe from a customer far out in the east somewhere. The cook pulls out a wrapped beverage from his leather bag. He looks excited as he hands it to you. Give it a try and let me know how it is. Well, seeing as Int is my best stat, I'm going to go with int choices as often as I can. From the east, oh, I missed saying that. Let me just see what that said. From the east, I've heard of what they ferment out there. Is this what I think it is? Well, don't you have a noggin on those shoulders, hey? Suddenly nervous, the cook quickly snatches the bottle out of your hand. He tries to cover up the incident with a smile. What was that? Oh, it's a popular alcoholic beverage, fermented horse milk. That sounds a lot worse when you say it out loud, eh? Listen, maybe this was a bad idea. I got connections with the weapons vendor, eh? Let me get something for you so you don't have to tell everyone what this is. What do you want? Now, here's the interesting thing. The obvious choice here, me being a mage, would be a staff. But I'm going to pick a greatsword because I can at least sell it. Whereas I'm not going to get much for the staff if I sell it. So I'm going to take the greatsword. Here you go then. So now I've got a greatsword, and I'm going to turn around and sell it to this guy, which is where he just got it. Hello, my good friend. Why not take a moment from your busy morning to take a look at my stock? Before I have a look, I'll deal with a couple of questions here. What are you selling? Why are you selling goods on the road? Just because we're on the way to the City of Sales doesn't mean the good people of this caravan won't need food, drink and supplies, and Waukeen's favour flee my shop if I allow that opportunity to pass unheeded. Waukeen is the god of merchants, I believe. What do you sell? Oh, a little of this, a little of that. Keith, ales, rations, salted meats, simple clothing, winter boots, curatives, and a small trinket to remind one of the good times on the high road. Of course, as time goes by, the occasional item of a more martial bent makes its way into my stock. A blade here, a bit of armour there, even items that may have felt the touch of magic as they were forged. So you'll sell whatever anyone will buy. Precisely. Supply and demand. I supply the goods and demand that they take a look. Ha ha ha. Hey, just a little joke there. I'll see what you've got. So, let's start selling this stuff that I don't need. So, boots, quarterstaff, quathra, find a wyvern spur effigy, and we got 2 of them. An effigy of Find a Wyvern Spur, the Nameless Bard. Good stories. Cherry bread, eating a grant a maximum 4 hit points for 120 seconds. I always forget to use this sort of stuff. Captain Barham's bust, one of the original 5 High Captains of Luskan. Captain Quath's bust. I think those were captains that were mentioned in Winter Nights 1. Shield, can't use. Obsidian, looks to be like a crafting item like that, but I'm going to get rid of it. A mask effigy, an effigy of Master Lord of Shadows, it's like an amulet to the god. Westgate Caith, a strong coffee made from powdery red beans. Oh, it's coffee, okay. Drinking this will increase movement speed by 10% for 20 seconds. Calamport Blend Tea, increase movement speed again. I'm not going to sell my healer's kit. Alchemist's Fire. I should remember to use this sort of stuff. 2 to 5, but I'm going to sell it. Potion of Healing. I don't need this longbow. Can't even use it, so let's sell that. The Greatsword. Sell that. Potion of Restoration. Improved Healing. Regeneration. Neverwinter Timepiece. The timepieces of Neverwinter are amongst the most fabulous in all of Faerun, leading to the often sworn phrase by the clocks of Neverwinter. There you go. I get 50 gold if I sell that, so that's good. And Thunderstones. I'm going to sell that as well. And Potions of Fox Cunning. Plus 4 intelligence for 60 seconds. I don't really see the point, so I'm going to sell it. I really should look at taking these other things off, or adding some of these things onto my hotbar, so I'm going to do that. There's nothing he wants. Actually, let me just double check, but I don't think he's got anything that I really want. Let's see what you have. Cloth hand wraps. They're worse than the gloves that I've got. Can't use any of that. I don't know if it's really worth buying healer's kits. I don't think you can use them in battle. Oh, it stabilizes an ally, reviving them. Yeah. Potion of Healing, Potion of Restoration. I'm better off with potions, I think, initially. Flask of Glue, never going to use that. Filter of self-resurrection. I think I get one of those, find one of those soon, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's put that down there, and we've got regeneration, and we've got restoration. I'm going to click and hold a little bit to get those to work. I'm going to have to set up the multiple bars here in a minute, because as I start getting more spells, I'm not going to have enough room for everything, so I'm going to be a little bit careful.
Right away.
Don't bother talking to her because she's a bit mean. I'm going to talk to this one, but I don't think I can complete this quest. I can't believe this is happening. It's all that damn Jessup's fault. Jessup, what did he do? He said my dog Gwen bit him. She's never bit anyone. Either he's lying or he provoked her. Now Tolan says he has to kill her to protect the rest of the caravan. It's ridiculous. She's been with me for years and never caused a fuss. I could talk to Tolan for you. Thank you. Please convince him not to kill her. I'll be lost without my Gwen. Right. So I'm going to run back and quickly do this, only because I know that I can't complete it successfully.
At once. Of course.
But let's
as you wish.
do as much as we can on that. So we talked to Tolan. Things are shaping up. We should be ready to move in the next hour or so. Need to discuss Jane's dog. Ah yes, I was hoping you would come talk to me about that. Jana said you were planning on killing Gwen. That is true. Can't have it attacking the other folk in the caravan. I need you to take that dog and kill it. Do you really think Gwen attacked for no reason? I don't know. I wasn't there. It wouldn't surprise me if Jessup did something stupid to start this mess, but without proof my hands are tied. Try talking to Jessup if you want. I just need this whole situation behind us. The fact is that he did do it, but there's only 3 skills that you can use to resolve this. Strength, wisdom, and charisma. And neither of mine are high enough. I'm going to just quickly save. Actually, I should have done a quick save. What is it? F5, isn't it? Yeah, quick save. Okay. Let's talk to him. Have one of you lazy guards killed that flea-infested dog yet? I wanted to discuss with you. I have questions. Questions? I was attacked by a rabid beast. Does that really need a damn investigation? So, my charisma is only 10, my strength is only 10, and my wisdom is only 10. None of those are going to be big enough to get through to this. When I've played the ranger and had a high wisdom, I could use that. When I've played a warlock with high charisma, I've used that. And when I started with the fighter with high strength, I can use that. In all 3 cases, what you find is that he got drunk off some brandy and gave some to the dog. The dog didn't like the taste of it and attacked him. But I don't think I can use any of these skills to get that out of him, and so I can't resolve this. And I believe it resolves itself later on, but it would be nice to be able to do that. So I tried the charisma way, failure. What was the charisma text? Let's just have a quick look. That dog hasn't been a problem before. Why did it attack now? How should I know what a dog's thinking? So this guy's a lying scumbag. But so the strength option, tell me exactly what happened with that dog. I want the truth. I told you what happened. I was attacked by a deranged animal. End of story. And then wisdom, that breed of dog is known for a calm demeanor. What's the real story? Failure. Bah, what do you know about dogs? Thank you for your time. So I can't resolve this. I'm not going to try. If I was playing a warlock or ranger, yeah, not a problem. Let's talk to Birkins. Morning, I'd hoped you'd come by to say hello. We so rarely get to mingle with the hardy folk hired to keep us safe on the road, unfortunately because you're the only thing standing between us and certain peril. Unfortunately, yes. My name is Aurophilia Main, but my friends call me Birkins. I hope I can count you among that group. What do you have for sale? Nothing for now. My wares are all packed up. I don't want random people from the caravan fooling about with my valuable items, do I? Excuse me. Maybe once we get to town, or if I have to spend more time here in camp, I'll open things up for sale. But for now, I just want to reach town. You're going to Luskan too? I am. Neverwinter got a little too competitive for my taste. Luskan is just the kind of town where a woman like me can really thrive without sacrificing her principles. Isn't Luskan a chaotic town full of pirates and thieves? Is it? Is it at that? I wasn't aware. Well, I suppose even pirates and thieves need access to quality goods at reasonable prices. Yes? They sure do. Exactly. I'm glad we agree. Why do they call you Birkins? So many people think it's a name someone made up on a whim, but actually it's an old family name. I got tired of people massacring Orophelia, decided that Birkins wasn't any worse than that. I should be going. Of course, don't be a stranger. Come back when we've stopped again and I'd be happy to show you my wares. Okay, so I can't resolve things with her. Did I miss any? No, it doesn't look like I missed anything.
I can do that.
So let's head down here. Oh, damn it.
What is it you require?
That old thing.
Yes?
Yeah. The interface in this game is a little clunky.
Of course.
You've got to double click on the character for it to start to follow them. Let me just quick save. Otherwise you spend a ridiculous amount of time scrolling around trying to see where you're going.
Me. Just taking on a bunch of bandits by myself. All in a day's work for Bellamy Lightfingers.
What happened here?
I was out here scouting the road and these two idiots jumped me, which was a bastard thing to do since I hadn't had my morning stretch. After the night I'd had, though, I was ready for a fight, and these two were well trained. Felt good putting them down.
Yeah, that's just so wrong. After the night I had, though, I was... Oh, yeah, sorry. Why would these guys attack you? I don't want to go on about the nightmare.
No doubt they heard about my prowess and wanted to prove themselves against the master. I don't know. They were better trained and equipped than your average bandit, though. If I didn't know better, I'd say they were hired to come out here.
Who could have hired them? He's gonna...
I don't know. Why does anyone do anything in this place? All I know is what happened.
So you had nightmares too?
I did. Woke up thinking someone had driven a spike through my skull. I felt like I'd watched the world end, like some demon had torn everything apart. Jarhild said she saw the same thing. The way you were thrashing and squealing when I left. I bet you did too.
I wasn't squealing.
Sure. That must be one hell of an opera you're practicing for.
We should get back to the caravan.
These guys weren't your normal starving, no skills, hit like a pillow fight bandits. If there's more of them running around, Jarhild will have her hands full.
Right, let's get to it. Magic missile to the one in the back. Which hopefully should kill him. Yes, very good. Now let's slow these other two down. Oh no, he's already dead, and so is that one.
It's completely blocked off.
We have to get back to the caravan.
I can hear Jarhild now. He went around when the bandits attacked. Where was you?
Let's go.
Try and stop me.
So I actually find it interesting in this game, as opposed to Neverwinter Nights, they've actually gone back on all of the restrictions that they had originally put. So halflings originally couldn't use great swords, for example, and yet if I have a look at Bellamy, he is using a two-handed sword, doing 3 to 12 slashing damage. So that's a great sword. They were in the Neverwinter Nights series. You were able, as a halfling, to use a longsword two-handed, but you couldn't use a greatsword because it was too big. So the idea was is that instead you used a longsword, you use it two-handed, but it still only did the same damage as a longsword because it's no bigger than a longsword. It's not the same size as a greatsword. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break here. I think it's a little short for my normal streaming, but I got a couple of things to do, and I'll probably be back in about half an hour or so, and we'll play a bit more of this. So let me just come in here, options, save and exit, and thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.